In the last 4 years since my next guest took the silver medal in the Laser Radial class in Rio 2016, her feet have not touched the ground. Irish sailor Annalise Murphy has competed in the Moth, she's raced around the world in the Volvo Ocean Race, and she's now back campaigning in the Laser Radial, aiming for gold at Tokyo 2021. So what does someone who is used to living life at such a fast pace do now to fill that void in lockdown?
Hi!
Cheers!
Cheers!
You. We're a little bit sideways. Am I sideways for you?
Yeah, you're sideways for me.
No.
I've got my phone because my computer doesn't, but the camera won't work with Zoom for some reason.
Oh, I see. I'm sideways because I'm in my picture. I'm up and down, but you're on landscape. Oh, there we go.
But then am I then portrait?
Yes, but otherwise you're on your side.
Yeah.
I'd rather you be the right way up for sure.
Or maybe if I just lie down, you know.
Definitely. Yes. Anyway,
you're propping you up on cooking books. They work pretty well as like a phone stand. There we go.
Yes. So how are you? So where are you? I'm guessing you're in Ireland at home, but give me a little overview of where you are and what you've been up to.
So I've been in Ireland, back at home in Dublin for 2 months now, since I got back from Australia, and I've basically been in my house for about 5 weeks. It's just I think it's a weird time for everyone, but it's weird. Like, this is probably the longest time in my life not being out sailing in some shape or form. I don't think I've ever not been on the water for longer than maybe 2 weeks. So that's pretty strange. But I'm on my own, so it's like at times it can be a bit lonely, but then it's great because there's so many like video things and being able to just chat to people over that. And I've been loaned one of the family Labradors, so I've got Liza to keep me company. And there's some days I think I'm actually turning into a human Labrador here. But it's strange, and I think probably being on my own means I just spend a lot of time sort of doing gym training and cycling on my turbo trainer on Zwift, but maybe like too much, because there's no one to be like, you should probably stop now. Or I'll just get to the end of the day, I'm like, I've got a bit of energy, I'll just do 2 hours on the turbo trainer. Before, if you'd said, would you do 2 hours on a turbo trainer, I'd be like, never in a million years, it's so boring. But now, like, I'm like, yeah, I just did 4 hours today, it wasn't that bad.
I know, it's really funny because the thing about turbo trainers, I also have become new to a turbo trainer since lockdown, because I thought it would kill my love of cycling, but actually if you can't go cycling, it's really good. That's impressive though, 4 hours on a turbo trainer without any moving scenery, that is up there with impressive.
Yeah, I actually got completely sunburnt down the right hand side of my body as well, because it was sunny. I had it outside in the back garden, so it was sunny, but only the right side of my body. The left side of my body is still like super white, but it's like red and white. It looks like some kind of, I don't know, paint experiment.
And it's very difficult to sundial when you're on a turbo trainer, isn't it? So you just had to commit to one side.
Yeah.
So let's pick up on a little bit about that, because fitness is hugely important for what you do in your sport, and I'm guessing it's a nice mental break as well. So how are you sort of scheduling your day, and how are you keeping up your fitness so that you're at the top of your game for when we come out of lockdown?
I'm quite lucky that we've got group gym sessions on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, where I kind of was like, how is it going to work over Zoom? But actually it's just like being in the gym, and it means I have to get up out of bed to go and do them. It used to be like 8 a.m. in the gym. I was like, that's fine. I'm like, 8 a.m. gym session, oh, that means I have to get out of bed at 7:57. But I think it's good because it means I actually do get out of bed. But that's like nice having routine. And then I'm doing lots of cycling on the turbo trainer through the app Zwift, which is really good because I've sort of got lots of different cycling friends. So they invite me to their meetups. So I'm able to do a long one on Saturday and then a long one on Sunday. And I end up cycling with a group of people that I don't know that well. And I might know one or two people quite well. And then I kind of get like guilted into doing the 3-hour session, because they go, oh, sure, at least like you're an Olympian, you must love exercising for 3 hours at a time, staring at a wall. And then I feel kind of like stuck, and like, oh, I can't let them know that I'm just like, all I want to do is quit here. So I think it's probably like peer pressure has meant that I've ended up doing like long sort of training sessions on the turbo trainer. And then on top of that, I'm just walking the dog and doing some yoga classes. And yeah, fitness, it's like not too difficult, but it's like hard to be motivated to like really try and improve at anything, because I'm not really too sure what I'm, getting ready for. That's the difficult bit.
Yes, because of course it's always important to have a focus. So if the focus isn't quite there, but I think it's brilliant, and people will know now that if you get invited to a meetup, you'll be like, well, I kind of have to. But also you raise a very good point about getting out of bed at 7:57 for an 8 o'clock gym. We're going to have to factor in travel time at some point again.
I know. It's actually such a bad idea as well, because you feel horrible going from literally being asleep to trying to go like straight into a gym session. Like, it's not good for you at all. Like, normally my gym sessions, I'll have cycled there, or I'll have been up like all day and I'll be doing the gym session later. But like when you just literally are like, alarm goes off and you're like, okay, out of bed, some gym gear on, you're like, you don't even care what you look like, because like no one can really see you properly over Zoom anyway.
Oh, so you go from bed to 3 minutes later doing jumping jacks. That's impressive. I mean, you just said then about how hard it is to get out of bed, but I wanted to sort of touch on the last few years a little bit, and sort of whether we can draw any similarities between lockdown, because obviously when you did the ocean race, that was, you would have had to have got up and gone straight up on deck and started working. So maybe first of all, you could just give me a little overview of the last few years for you, from when you won your silver medal in the Laser Radial in Rio. It's been a very busy few years, this last Olympic cycle.
I've kind of had like this sort of lockdown time. The one thing I would say is it's like been nice to be like, oh, I'm not running around like a sort of headless chicken anymore. I'm able to just like chill out. I thought I was going to be really productive and start like tidying everything and organizing my whole life, and it lasted about 3 days, and then that just went down the drain. And I'm just like, just get through the day. But after the Olympics, my kind of life was a little bit mad for a while in Ireland, because I was sort of one of 2 Olympic medals for Ireland. So it was a bit of a shock to the system. Sort of everything changed from me just I kind of thought I'd be able to go home and just get on with my life and, go to a few parties and it'd be great. But I suddenly had like a lot of sort of obligations and media things that I wasn't expecting. And I found it quite difficult, just because, everyone kept on sort of saying, oh, you're so great. And I just like looking back, I just watched an entire series on Netflix today. That is all I've done. Like, I definitely haven't great. I'm probably quite lazy. I was lucky.
They love you because you're real, Annalise.
But I got to do a bit of moth sailing between the Olympics and Christmas time, which was quite fun. I went out to Bermuda and did an event. Probably was the most scared I've ever been in my life one day. I definitely nearly chopped someone's head off just because I was completely out of control doing over 30 knots. But they capsized in front of me, and I just closed my eyes and was like, which is not, you shouldn't do that when you're already out of control in the boat. But it's so much fun to sail that boat. And then after Christmas, I went and did a 3-month full-time cookery course, because I was like really into cooking. And I just decided it would be like a really great sort of break from sailing and media stuff, and just be able to basically go down to Cork and live on an organic farm and go cooking every day. So it was amazing. It was like 3 really great months. Just got up early. It was hard work, but it also wasn't hard work, because you just got to eat delicious food all the time. And I absolutely love food. So I was loving it. So yeah, I finished those 3 months, and then was kind of like, okay, time to get back into the sort of Olympic cycle for 2020 in the laser. And that was when Dee Kafari sent me an email asking would I be interested in doing a Volvo Ocean Race. And would I be interested in doing a tryout? I kind of thought like it must be some sort of joke. Like, I was like, is she actually being serious? So I was like, hey Dee, thanks for the email. I get severely seasick and I've never really been offshore, but you know, I'm not too sure if I'd be any use to you. And she invited me to come on down for a trial in Lisbon. And in my mind, I was like, I'll go down and do this trial and I'll be absolutely horrendous. And they'll be like, go home, never come back. But I did the trial and I thought I was going to die of seasickness for the first 24 hours offshore. And then I was fine, actually. The first 24 hours were terrible, but then I was fine after that. Yeah, they asked me would I be interested in being part of the team. Dee was trying to put together a 50-50 men-women team, and that 6 of us would be under 30, and she'd love to have me on the team if I'd be interested. And it was like such a shock, because I thought she was going to be like, no way, we don't want you on the team at all. And then I was sort of also shocked, because I was like, oh, I'm not too sure. Like, this is terrifying. I've always looked at the Volvo Ocean Race and been like, those people are nuts. That is not for me. I like sleeping, eating, and being clean. And I sort of had a good think about it and was like, actually, how I sort of might never get an opportunity like this again. The fact that there's the under 30 rule and they are giving way more opportunities for women to be in the race. So I said I'd love to be on the team. Started the race in Alicante. It was like a shock to the system. I was like, oh, I'm actually doing this. It was like challenging, but it was, but I also enjoyed it. I think sort of the excitement when you'd see like another boat on the horizon. We like suddenly saw a scallywag out of nowhere, and that's like things like that. It just gives you, it's something so small, but it's so exciting when you don't see anything for days, and then suddenly you see another boat. You're like, there's another boat on the horizon. Look, look, look. And it's everyone's there with with the binoculars, just like you can't really see anything. It's like a dot on the horizon, but you're still like, wow, this is amazing. Someone else. Finishing it was amazing. Like the sense of achievement I got from finishing it and not quitting, having at stages, stages really thought that I wasn't going to be able to finish it, was pretty cool. And also being with the whole team that we had, they were awesome. Like everyone on the team, young team, loads of great people from sort of all different walks of sailing, and that was really great as well.
Obviously you said at the beginning of this chat you're on your own at the moment. You've been at home for 5 weeks, so has that put you in pretty good training for now that you can achieve huge amounts and you're very mentally strong?
I think it probably, people are like, oh, how are you finding being on your own? I was like, this is grand. I was like, I can sit on the couch all day, I can make really delicious food, I can drink coffee whenever I want, I can sleep whenever I want. I was like, I can shower whenever I want. And then I was like, actually, I don't think I've had a shower in 3 days. I was like, but no one's going to see me, so it doesn't matter. I was like, yeah, doing the ocean race, it like prepared me for this so well. But it's, yeah, there's some people and they'd come in and they'd be like, oh, the thrill of that. It was so amazing. It was so hard, but it was so rewarding. And I think they stopped interviewing me because I'd come in and I'd be like, well, that was absolutely awful. I was counting down the seconds till I could get back in. And they're like, what about the thrill of going down the waves? So they're like, nah, no thrill. I was just like, yeah, you go down another wave, goes in your face. And I think they were like, I don't want this girl in the media. She's doing a bad job of portraying the race. It's like you're meant to be saying like, how brutally hard it is, but also how much of an amazing time you're having. And I was like, it's not an amazing time. And I was like looking at everyone, I was like, you guys aren't having an amazing time either. You're just lying for the camera.
Everyone's just talking about their highlights. This is why I'm drawn to you. I love your honesty. It's brilliant. You're saying exactly how it is, particularly when you said how seasick you were. I get horribly seasick. So when you said you were sick for the first 24 hours, I mean, I sailed across the Atlantic when I was 23, and I'd never sailed offshore before. It was a very silly thing to do. I was so poorly. So I think it's amazing that you got through that first 24 hours in training and then went around the world. Now, when you were talking about just after Rio and you took some time out to do your other passion other than sailing, which was cooking. So are you taking the time now to cook? I know we're propped up on your phone on some recipe books. So are you just enjoying time to try out new recipes? Is that one of your hobbies at the moment?
Yeah, it is one of my hobbies. The only problem is like I've been like cooking loads of amazing food, but then I end up eating it all as well. So I've had to like sort of rein back in a bit on the sort of the baking side of things, because if I cook a cake, like I'll just eat it until it's finished. I'm not able to be like, I'll have one slice and then I'll have one slice next week. I'm like, one slice for lunch, one slice for dessert. Like after breakfast the next day, I'll be like, it's 11sies, sure, why not? So yeah, I'm trying not to do too much baking, but I'm cooking loads, and because I've got a lot more time, like doing like things that are maybe complicated or take more time, or dishes that take a long time to cook, and then it's worthwhile. Although also like I'm feeding Liza, my dog, like she basically won't eat dog food anymore because I'm like, Liza, would you like some roast chicken tonight? And she's like, but now she's just like, I don't want this dog food stuff. I want roast chicken every night. It completely ruined her.
And you also said when you came back from winning the silver medal and everyone was like, tell us, you know, you're a celebrity, and you're like, I've just been watching Netflix all day. Have you been watching Netflix a lot at the moment, and what are you watching?
Yeah, I have been watching quite a lot of Netflix. I've been trying to like, had like a really bad week where I started watching Ozark actually while I was on the turbo trainer. But I watched it all 3 seasons in 5 days, which I then like worked out it was like 30 hours of episodes. It's like, that is not good. Like I just did like someone's working week watching Netflix. Now, probably about 14 hours of that was on the turbo trainer, because I was like, I can watch, if I watch Netflix and cycle at the same time, it's okay. But then the rest of it, I was just sitting on the couch watching it. But I'm also watching The Last Dance at the moment, Michael Jordan's documentary series thing, and that's so cool to like. I guess I would have like. I sort of remember Michael Jordan as a kid, but I didn't actually know, you know, I would have been too young to kind of follow that whole thing. But it's like, it's so cool to be able to be watching that. But I'm trying not to get into any other series, because I think I actually have like a slight addictive personality with watching. Oh, actually, no, I am watching something else. I forgot. There's an Irish author. She has a book called Normal People, and the series has just started on BBC One on Monday night. And so anyway, I've been like illegally getting my computer to say that it's in the UK so I can watch it on iPlayer.
You do not need to justify watching Ozark. We just finished that and it's absolutely incredible. And also watching The Last Dance, but it's gone back to how it used to be, because I'm up to date with it. I'm used to having a series there and I can just watch the whole thing. And now I'm like, what do you mean I have to wait another week? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I considered just subscribing to ESPN so I could watch it on Sunday instead of Monday.
I think that's a good consideration. I think that would be a wise choice. So gosh, that's amazing. 14 hours on a turbo trainer in 5 days. So with your fitness, obviously at radial sailing, you're out there on your own and it's hugely demanding on your body. You know, what are you doing because obviously sailing is a huge part of your fitness and that can't happen at the moment. So you've got turbo training, you said you've got gym sessions. So, you know, how is that all going for your radial sailing?
It's going okay. I've always been really into cycling. So like, I just love it. I love being outside and like finding new roads to go on. And I think it's one of the best ways when you go to a different country to be able to kind of explore. If you've got a bike, you can go out and see different places that you wouldn't normally see if you're in a car, or, you know, it's, so yeah, I'm really into cycling and I've got like a really good group of people that I'm normally able to cycle with. So, but not being able to go out on the roads is pretty hard. But I guess it isn't the same as like laser sailing is like requires like certain kind of fitness that's just just a bit brutal. Like it's kind of brutal on your body, particularly because I sailed the 49er FX for a year, helming it, and I like kept up like a good level of fitness just through cycling and gym, but it also it's so much easier physically than sailing a laser. It was scary at times, but like most of the time that was the only reason my heart rate was high, was because I was genuinely just scared. Like it wasn't through any kind of exertion. It would just be like, oh no, I really hope I don't die or run someone over. And well, the laser, it's like, yeah, it's quite brutal. Like particularly our world championships in Melbourne, we had a few days where it was like windy, big waves, and three races in the laser. It's a hard day of sailing. Yeah. I have a hiking bench, and I'm trying to do a bit of hiking. I don't know, it's really not that much fun. And people who are like, I'm seeing people putting stuff up on the internet about like how much hiking they're doing on their hiking benches. I'm just like, it's not that much fun. It hurts your legs, it hurts your abs. And when you don't know when you're going to next get to hike, it's hard to be that motivated to put yourself through, because it's just painful. Like there's nothing rewarding about it on a hiking bench. It's not even like it makes you go anywhere, you're just sort of sitting there in pain going, when's this going to end?
Oh, that sounds brutal. And of course, when you are hiking, you're going somewhere and you're trying to beat someone. It all kind of makes sense, so it's all part of it. But if we could just go back and pick up a little bit from when you finished the Volvo Ocean Race and you were actually campaigning for Tokyo in the 49er FX, and then you decided to go back to the Laser Radial, which is of course the class you won the silver medal in Rio in. So it's been very eventful and busy the last few months in the Olympic cycle for you.
After the sort of finishing the ocean race, the laser just didn't really appeal to me at that moment. I was like, I don't know if I want to sail a laser anymore. I was like, it's so hard, so slow. And I kind of had this idea that I'd love to try sailing a 49er. And I asked one of my friends who I sailed with when I was a kid in Offies, Katie, if she'd be interested in sailing the FX with me. So we had like a fairly full-on year, because we just like, I finished the ocean race and was like straight into like learning how to sail the FX, and it actually was really hard. I just presumed, I was like, I can sail a laser, I'm pretty good at Moth sailing, I'll be great in an FX. And I remember the first day I went out and I like couldn't stand up, I kept on falling over, and like if I needed to tack or jibe, I was crawling across the boat. It's just like, why can't I do this? Like, this is so embarrassing. I was like, I'd see the other side of the boat and there's like the two tiller extensions. I'd be looking, I'd be like, how do I get from holding this tiller extension on this side out on a trapeze over to the other side? And I was just like, I just don't know how to get there. So I'd basically just be like down and just like crawling across the boat, then sitting on the other side and be like too afraid to go back out on the trapeze. So it was like a steep learning curve. I think I was probably pretty brutal at it. And unfortunately, through, I guess, probably partially my fault, Katie broke her arm when we were kind of into sailing the boat about 6 weeks. And that put her out for 4 months. And then I was like, started being known as like the chopping board, because like I kept on like injuring people on the 49er. But 21-year-old guy, Adam, he stepped up and sailed with me for the 4 months. And that was fantastic, because he was completely fearless and he wasn't afraid that I was going to kill him, even though there was probably a good chance I was going to kill him at some stage accidentally. But he didn't realize that, or he did and he didn't care. So that was like a great way to like build up my 49er skills. And then it meant when Katie was better, she was able to get back in the boat, and I was much better at boat handling, and I wasn't crawling across the boat anymore. I was like, I still don't know if you'd call me graceful, but I was making it work. I was kind of getting from one side of the boat to the other without slowing down too much. And it was like, had like a great season, like a big learning curve, sort of threw ourselves into racing in Genoa. Like it was really light winds. So I was like, oh, this actually isn't too hard. Everything was happening quite slow. We had like, there weren't very many races, but we had one of the races we were like 5th in. We were like, this isn't bad. Like maybe this is like our trajectory. And kind of kept on learning all summer and went out to the test event in Japan. And there, like, it was, we found it quite challenging. Like, the first day was windy and wavy, and we were finding it hard getting around the course, but we managed to finish the races. And then luckily the rest of the event was actually kind of medium, which really suited us, because I was just having one of those weeks where I was like, I think the right hand side looks good, let's go right. I would be like first the windward mark. And then everyone else is like, how did you know the right hand side was going to be good? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think it's just when you're not under any pressure to make decisions, you're just doing it because you're like having fun. It's so much easier to make the right decision because you're not worried that if it's right or wrong. You're just like, oh, I'm just going to see if this side of the race course is better. And if it's not, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we can't tack or jibe. So it like suddenly turns you into this tactical genius because you've no fear of getting it wrong. You're just out enjoying yourself, and it's like a bonus when things go right. So we really enjoyed the test event. We finished 13th in it, which we're pretty happy with. For basically, we'd been in the boat for 1 year, and although Katie had a 4-month sort of time out when she broke her arm, but then the next week there was the World Cup event, and it was really windy. And the first day was it the first day or the second day? The second day was like super windy, I think, and I was too afraid to go sailing. That was kind of there. It was sort of when I started to think, I was like, I don't think in a year's time I'm going to be able to get the skills I need to be good enough to go to the Olympics in the FX. And that was why I decided to get back into the laser, because it also, the FX made me realize how much I loved Olympic class racing. It's so much fun. The standard is so high. You're racing against these like really cool people that, you know, are on the same wavelength as you as well. They're out trying to be the best in the world. They're, you know, traveling around the world doing all these events. And I kind of also felt like I maybe had unfinished business with the Olympics, having sort of being in gold medal position in both the London medal race and the Rio medal race, and in both races just kind of been like, and like losing it a bit. The World Championships, they didn't exactly go how I wanted them to. I don't think I was sailing really well, but I was being pretty smart, but I got black flagged in the first race of finals, which was pretty disappointing. I finished 10th in the race, which I know I didn't because I was black flagged, but I'd kind of had a good race. And then I had 2 seconds in the next 2 races of finals. And then in what turned out to be the last race of finals, I got a yellow flag on the first upwind. It was quite light. And I don't know, I guess I've never got a yellow flag upwind before, or at least maybe did when I was like 14 or 15. So I was pretty surprised, but just because I'm bigger, I have to sail the boat differently to everyone else when it's light weather. So I have to, you know, maybe I'm like at the edge of the rules sometimes, which I guess is fair enough. But then I ended up then coming into the finish line, I got another yellow flag. I can count the amount of yellow flags I've got in my life in one hand, and then suddenly, like in a race that really does count as to whether I'm going to like win the World Championships or come 12, I get a second yellow flag. And I was just like, this is not meant to be for me this week. But yeah, I was able to be like kind of okay with it, because like, okay, I was sailing pretty well. I realized, you know, at the end of the day, I guess I was cheating. I was over the start line and then I got 2 yellow flags, so it's fair enough. I don't deserve to win the Worlds, but I was like, I am sailing well enough to maybe win the Worlds. And that I was like, you know, in 5 months' time at the Olympics, maybe I'll be in a pretty good shape. We're still like doing our Irish Olympic selection at the moment, actually. The Worlds was the first trial event, but then the second and third trial events were meant to be Palma and Hyères, but they haven't happened. So at the moment, I'm unsure of what's going to happen next year, but just keeping on sort of training away, and I'll hopefully figure that out in the next year. And yeah, that's just, it's kind of been it. And now it's just trying to like stay positive about the Olympics having been postponed a year. It's hard because there's not really any certainty. Like they might happen next year, but maybe they won't. And it's hard to know. I think once I'm able to get back out training on the water, it'll be a lot easier. But when you're at home and not able to sail, it's definitely difficult.
Well, it sounds like you've learned so much about yourself in the last few years with all the different sailing experiences. And what have you found you've learned the most about yourself since being in lockdown in a much shorter space of time?
Probably that I'm actually kind of messy. I kind of thought, I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to just tidy everything and be so on top of my life. And I'm actually no different. If anything, I'm probably worse, because I'm like, I'll do that tomorrow. I've got so much time.
When they suddenly came lockdown, you'd be like, wait, I've got so much I need to do.
Yeah, I know. I thought that I was going to be like able to be really productive. And there's definitely days where I am really productive and I get like a load of stuff done. But then it's like one day of like super productiveness followed by like 4 days of like minus productiveness. So I think it kind of I'm kind of hoping that everyone else is like that as well. It's not just me.
No, and it sounds like you're being super productive with your fitness anyway. So I think the productivity can be ticked. And for when we come out of lockdown, is there anything that you're thinking you want to do first that you're really missing?
I don't know. Like I'm missing probably, I actually was saying this, I am missing sailing, but I'm probably missing people more. I'm missing seeing my friends and my family. And even though it's great, you can see them over, video and things like that, it doesn't really make up for seeing them in person. And because initially I was like, oh, I think the thing I'm going to miss most is sailing. But like as this has gone on, I realized I can live without sailing, but it's hard to live without sort of seeing the people that you really want to see.
And particularly because you spent all that time on the Volvo Ocean Race surrounded by people, and even though you sail a single-handed boat at the moment, you're part of a bigger team, and there's a true sense of camaraderie as well. So are you having virtual chats and calls with the team to keep that alive for when you get back out on the water?
Yeah, we do. Every Friday we do a big team Zoom chat, and like it varies between sort of talking about tactics or strategy, and then like last week I did a whole quiz and I made like a whole section on, is it an Italian Olympic sailor or a pasta? And nobody could get them. And then I realized, I was like, I've made this quiz and I can't even tell.
Oh, that's true. And what about from, I mean, I've got no idea about the setup of where you live. Have you got neighbours? Is there a sort of sense of community around where you are? Are you meeting people over the fence that you haven't seen before?
Yeah, I live in a sort of an estate, and so I end up, I'm chatting to all my neighbours now. Like they're probably like, we don't want to talk to you. I'm out there like every day, like ready to have the chats with anyone who'll listen, like telling them about my life. I'm just like, my life's so boring. I just did 4 hours in the turbo trainer. I'm just like, probably like, shut up, Annalise. We really don't care how long you were on the turbo trainer for.
Oh, that's brilliant. You just go out with a cup of coffee, like, I'm ready. Who's going to talk to me today?
It's pretty much like that. It's great. You end up having like the funniest conversations with people, like just that you'd be people that you normally say, hi or whatever, and now you're having these like in-depth conversations about like, the dangers of airplane flying and stuff like that.
But you've got your dog. Let's meet your dog.
She's actually sleeping. She spends most of the day sleeping.
Oh, good on her.
She also doesn't like video chats. But yeah, this actually isn't. This is her toy IKEA dog. And this is Liza. Liza. Yeah, you see, she really doesn't like the camera. She's looking away.
We've definitely woken her up, haven't we? This is your best friend in lockdown, huh?
I'm telling you, like, having a dog makes such a difference. And just like definitely keeps you sane. And it also forces you to, on days where you feel like really unmotivated, it forces you to get outside. And like every day she's like there, like looking at me like, when are we going for the walk? And even though today it was raining, I was still like, actually, I'll just put my hood up and it'll be fine. And like, I was really glad I got out. Like, makes such a difference. It's she kind of forces me to, if there's definitely days where I've been like, I found it hard and been kind of moping around a bit, and yeah, she's kind of just forced me to like get out of that mode.
That's brilliant. I so know what you mean. Even when going outside feels like the worst idea, it's amazing how refreshed you feel, even after just half an hour. So, the whole sort of living in isolation thing, because obviously it's you and Liza. So what would you say to anyone that is on their own, like if they're struggling?
It is going to be hard, or well, maybe it's not for everyone, but I think if you're on your own, it is hard. And there's definitely going to be days where you're going to just feel a bit down about things. I definitely had days where I've been like, oh, just, I don't feel like I've done anything meaningful, and I just kind of sat around all day. But it's like also I think about like not punishing yourself for having days like that, because if you have a bad day, it's okay to like not feel like getting up, because I think it's just a weird time for everyone. You're going to have that, but also I think the importance of, if you are feeling kind of bad, like getting outside and going for a walk, clearing your head makes such a difference. And then I do think that I've probably been in like pretty good form because I have kept up quite a lot of exercise. Like you just get so much, endorphins, and you do feel good from exercising. I think because I'm still doing quite a lot of exercise, I'm sleeping well because I'm tired. And I think that's important, because if you go, like if I went from, I was doing 30 hours of training a week and suddenly I stopped doing all that, I think I would have probably gone mad. I wouldn't have been able to sleep because I would have had so much more energy. And so I think those are probably, try and do some exercise, get outside, and don't worry about feeling crap.
Top tips. You're very motivating. That's the whole reason why I set up doing these interviews, because I really miss interviewing people, and I'm used to being around sports people and talking about what motivates you in the fitness. And it's actually been really good for me talking to all these sailors who are like, we're real, we're human, and sometimes you don't want to do this, but you go and do it, and it's really motivating. So thank you for that. And just one last question about your overall focus, because obviously we don't really know what's going on with the Olympics, and you should have had, did you say 1 or 2 more selections, to have discovered who was going to represent Ireland? So what's your focus, that apart from the dog walks, that does get you up, and when you're training, you're thinking, I'm doing this because of?
I don't know. That's probably the thing that I find hardest, is I'm like, why am I training, or what's the reason? Because I don't know when the next time I'm going to get to compete internationally. I'm hoping that I have this great plan of starting up a big domestic Irish laser sailing scene this summer, if we're allowed to get back out sailing. And I have it all planned. Like I'm going to like set up all this racing. It's going to be great. But I don't know when's the next time that I'm going to be able to compete against, people from other countries, and when there's going to be the next big events. And, there's also the uncertainty about whether the Olympics, if we're going to be in a good enough place in a year's time to be able to actually have the Olympics. So that's always in the back of your mind. But then I think I'm just staying motivated to try and stay fit, because you work so hard trying to like get up to a really high level of fitness, and then it's nearly like a fear of losing that fitness and having to go through all that hard work again to build it back up. I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I'd want to have to go and do that again. So I think that's the main thing, is that just trying to stay fit, so that when we are allowed back out to go sailing and go cycling in the hills and things like that, that I'll be able to do it straight away. That I won't need to like go through a whole fitness regime to get to that stage.
Yeah, that's so true. Fitness takes a huge amount of work, and you have to keep going at it, which was originally why I wanted to talk to people in lockdown, because you say no one wants to come out of this and think, oh my goodness, to get back to where I was is a lot of work. So yeah, thank you. Your honesty has been so refreshing and so lovely, and it's been so nice to talk to you and see you again, albeit through a computer screen.
I know, it's been great. I'm just like, more people to talk to.
I'm giving your neighbours a break.
They're going to be like, oh great, she hasn't come out today.
But thank you so much for all your time, and it's been so nice to talk to you, and hopefully we'll see each other very soon.
Yeah, cheers. It's been great to talk to you too.
And
I hope that the rest of your lockdown is good.
Next episode, I chat with sailing legend Paul Cayard. I joined him in his home virtually, where he is living life in lockdown in style.
I mean, I would give you this background, but when I sit there, it's backlit badly.
Yeah.
You don't see my face, but it's beautiful.
Definitely tune in for that one.